There's Zoom.
Can you hear us, Margaret?
I can hear you.
I didn't hear you. Let's see. What about down here? Speakers. Let's try. None of the above. All right. Say something now, Margaret.
Was that? Oh, what's that? Hold off your sweaty hands.
All right.
That's not the original actress who's supposed to be doing this show. No, what do you mean?
30.
I live in Sweden.
Okay.
Well, built similar to, this girl was like a size stick, matched thick legs, she was like tapping on her. And I'm like, I'm not sure her voice was amazing, but it was. And got the every third night. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's not in there. For some reason, it's not.
Good night.
Just put it on your watch. It should be able to do it on your watch.
We're actually expecting a Brisbane fellow to join us this morning.
Anyone we know?
I don't know that you do know him.
There must be one of them. I don't know which one it is.
But
You can just turn this.
I met him at the meetings we had up there. He's seen my video stuff, and so we chatted then, and at the meetings he sent me a text last night that I didn't see till this morning saying, "Hey, I'm in town visiting my mother. Can we get together and have a coffee, or whatever?" Like, well, you can come by and have class.
And I just before that, I asked, well, what about the week of the 17th? And I thought she had said yes. I think I proposed a weeknight, like Wednesday or something.
That's working.
Yes, most people. I don't know, something I thought you Saturday, and that works, so then I put it back to Wednesday. Well,
It's not in there, but it doesn't.
Well, Margaret, we're just waiting for a couple people to show up. But other than that, we're good to go. What's new with you? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing new.
All right. Are you staying cool over there? Do you have air conditioning?
Sure am.
Yeah. I was debating whether maybe I face the camera this way. I was debating whether to turn on the air conditioning at all, because this morning at 8 o'clock it seemed reasonable outside, but the forecast kept saying it was going to just get stinking hot by noon. So I was like,
Yeah.
No, it's not under control center.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
And for the next week as well.
oh really?
Over 30 for the next week.
I think we've actually had the air conditioning on more this summer than we did all of last summer.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. It's been hotter for longer.
yeah.
It's got-
Yeah, yeah.
it's got a J instead of an I. And I keep saying-
I'm just gonna put silver on.
Alright. Let's see if we have any honest emails coming through. Okay,
No,
No,
no.
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 I don't know that I'd be drinking hot tea on a day like this, but you know, suit yourself.
No, hot tea's good.
This is the Australian
Cools
way.
you down.
Not actually finding it.
Just because it's been the Australian way doesn't mean it's the right way.
So, then you fall over in inspiration.
No, I do not want any hot.
So, sorry.
Just you.
Broken thing.
Huh?
Looks like it to me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sitting in this rocking chair.
Well, it's standing up at the wheel, but
What's that?
that's standing up at one of those for take.
Oh, this one. Which
Oh. Doing that? Oh, just playing the sound.
No. That's there. What happened? Okay. So if I let's click up this chair. Still need.
Cliff would have to show up.
He said, okay.
Yeah, okay.
He answered your message. Chair. See, come in.
Well, that may not.
Here you go. Oh, see, we don't have enough chairs.
It's-
Good.
Patricia.
Oh, Patricia as well.
No,
exactly. Bring in kitchen.
My dad lives pretty well.
Hey.
So we've got
We're in here.
Ah.
Yeah.
Big giant.
So this is a Queenslander. We're gonna be nice to him for today. He joined in with Darren's group, but he's in Sydney. So he decided to crash our little party. So welcome.
There's the
Um,
water freshly boiled if either of you want some.
Oh, you're on.
Not really on your.
They're Hussies, they like tea and hot weather, they remember Pop and stuff all the time.
My mum does too.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like opens a pool to your school and comes you down apparently.
Oh,
Everybody outside.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Sorry?
Thank you.
And our.
It opens the port and you skin.
Oh, I don't need my pores opened any more than they already are.
You're not like.
Not Aussies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's too. These are big costs.
So Chris,
Did you say Chris?
yeah.
Oh, thank you. Jennifer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we've got Chris in the corner, Patricia, Laura.
Corner. Okay.
Well, yeah, Lori,
Lori.
who's married to Murray, who's over here. And then we've got Ralph on the edge, his sister Margaret,
Hi.
who's married to Owen, who's the brother of Murray.
Oh, come on. Wait, are you gonna bring?
I was gonna leave her out of this. I tried my best to give Patricia that higher space outside the Helden circle. Yeah. But there's a quiz at the end, so I hope you got all that.
My mum asked where you were from. And I said, Philly, is that what you?
Yeah.
And she said my grandfather's father was born in Philly.
Oh,
Didn't even know that.
so wait, what's your? Who's that?
That'd be my great grandfather.
Oh, it's nobody in the church.
No, I'm the only
You're
one.
ringing.
Yeah.
Great.
You know how I found it? So I just typed in world experience, and then it put me to off that guy.
Oh,
And I
okay.
just got hooked.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Rick
My-
Curtis, way to go.
Oh, yeah, I watch him regularly, but my other half comes from a Methodist Presbyterian background. So introducing her to this was,
Uh-huh.
she had to navigate completely different. So I knew
Yeah, start fresh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It was harder for her to grasp. Now she's
Oh.
yeah, she's advanced. Yeah, she goes to Anna.
Oh, Namaste, Patricia. Yeah, okay.
I like visiting Sydney, but I couldn't.
Oh.
It's too busy, too big. I'm a country boy.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, and on the screen,
I
we
missed,
have
missed.
Margaret.
Oh, yes, another Margaret.
Chris.
Chris, okay, from
Sydney.
Brisbane, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, like we always did.
Yeah, he's part of the Darren's congregation
Oh,
there.
okay,
He's in town visiting his mother,
okay.
so
Yeah.
Darren vouched for him so that we could have him today.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I will go to the screen share here. Where is it? There we go. What have I done?
But it's not the 11.
Okay, so today's topic, we're going to Christmas. You know, why not? I'll go with Christmas theme, and we've had this unintentional theme this year about aliens that keeps popping up in different things.
Christmas, aliens.
Yeah, that goes together. It goes together. So why not tie them together? Some of you, I don't know, maybe some of you were part of the virtual retreat that David Moffat ran back in January. And I did a presentation called Aliens, Why Do They Matter? And if you think about it, all the hot topics in the church, all right, women in the ministry, what can you have at Holy Supper, homosexuality, all these kind of things. Swedenborg writes more about aliens than all of that put together, right? All the stuff that we like to complain and argue over, there's way more written about aliens. But I'm not going to give you that presentation today. But that's where this year started for me. And one of the things that came out of that presentation, though, that leads into this is before January 23rd, 1748, Swedenborg uses the term God Messiah in his early spiritual experiences. But then, starting the 26th, so 3 days later, he starts using the Lord. Any idea why or what happened in between there? It's actually, now this is all, I mean, some speculation as to, is this the reason? But what we notice is in those 3 days, he has had visitations with spirits from Jupiter. And it's as if, like, so the pictures I've put in here, it's like he's gone from seeing God as God of this world to God of the universe. So it's a shift in Swedenborg's perspective as to who God is. And so when we get to the book Earths in the Universe, you see that carried over, that he's treating the Lord not as just Jesus, who was this guy in a little town of Bethlehem or Jerusalem or whatever, and this tiny little thing. It's no, God is way bigger. And so when you get into Earths in the Universe, you'll see about why that he gets into why was the Lord born here, as opposed to why couldn't he have been born somewhere else? You know, we talk about it in terms of, well, God came to save the human race. well, if the human race is bigger than just Earth, well, could he affected salvation from some planet we've never heard of? Maybe he did. But Earth in the Universe has a lot of passages that talk about why God was born here, and that's kind of what I want to be focusing on today. It's probably about 7 or 8 numbers here from Earth and the Universe, and a couple from the Spiritual Diary we'll look at. So here we go. We'll start reading through some of these. It says, there are many reasons concerning which I had information from heaven why it pleased the Lord to be born and to assume the human on our earth and not another. The principal reason was for the sake of the word, in that it might be written on our earth, and when written, be afterwards published throughout the whole earth, and when once published, be preserved to all posterity, and that thus it might be made manifest even to all in the other life that God became man. I bet a number of you have heard this basic idea before. It gets brought up in new church circles around Christmas time. That it might be written. That's you'll see that as a key.
There's no, the other planets don't have writing, so.
That's what it gets to, yeah. Yeah, in the coming passages, you'll see that that's what's brought up. And the theologian understands that premise, but the other part of me says, well, really? We're the only ones that writing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it certainly is a theme that comes up here. Yeah.
So is it writing or printing?
Well, it does say in this passage written, but yeah, there is something about printing, but like yeah. Now you say that, I remember that passage. I don't remember seeing that in this series. So you can see this is the next number, EU 113. This goes to 114. It says that the principal reason was for the sake of the word, because the word is the divine truth itself, which teaches man that there is God, there's a heaven and hell, there's life after death, and teaches moreover how man ought to live and believe in order to come into heaven, and thus into eternal happiness. All these things would have been altogether unknown without a revelation, thus on this earth without the word, and yet man is so created that as to his interiors he cannot die. So, all right, he came for the word, and okay, the word definitely teaches that there's God, but you don't get a whole lot of the heaven and hell and life after death in the scriptures, do you? Probably don't.
Life's very healthy.
Yeah, right. No, I saw a friend of mine on Facebook. Yeah, good morning. That was, yeah.
Thank you. I just want to say,
A friend of mine was given a doormat, and then the dog's face is on it, and it says, "We know you're here," and implying the barking of the dogs, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, we might need to get one of those too. So yes, once again, principal reason Lord is born here is for the word.
turn off. Sorry,
It's all right. You turning me off?
I'm turning this off. This is a pain. There you go. Off.
And then it rolls to the next one. It says that the word might be written on our earth is because the art of writing, this is what it didn't say printing here, the art of writing has existed from the most ancient time. First in the bark of trees, next on parchment, afterwards on paper, and lastly published by types. This was provided by the Lord for the sake of the word. So yeah, it really is focusing on having a printed document. And I've had other pastors who've said to me, well, UFOs can't possibly be real because if the aliens don't have writing, how could they make flying saucers? I'm like, well, I mean, I understand the logic there. And yet, I don't know, maybe they have really good communication. you know, telepathy or something.
Doesn't he say that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't it?
Yeah. But like if you get into the whole UFO lore, many people will say that they've seen UFOs with writing on the outside of it. Now maybe those are the government UFOs that we've written on them or something. I don't know.
Well,
But
can I tell you something about that very quickly?
sure.
The same thing happened in the US. This thing crashed. Men in black come along, told people to go away. No, 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 no. They found out that, you know, that's why I had strange writing on it.
Yeah.
It was Russian writing.
Oh,
It was something from space, from the Russian space programs. Yeah, that's it.
What's his name?
So the space alien stuff sometimes I'm a bit iffy with that.
Yeah. Well, so he then goes on to say that, you know, written revelation began to accommodate our fallen state. So just as a brief recap, you know, Adam and Eve, their will and their understanding are united. When you will bad things and your understanding is tied to that, you can't talk yourself out of doing bad things. You know, it's like little kids. They want to jump on the bed or the couch, whatever, and you tell them, stop jumping on the couch. What do? They keep jumping on the couch because that's just what they want to do. It's all tied in together. And so the Noah's Ark story is this separation of the will and the understanding. And it's at that point where written revelation becomes important. So it's, you know, Moses who writes down all these stories, you know, centuries later, who knows how long later, but he writes them all down later to accommodate fallen state so that we can now understand, oh, hey, we're not doing the right thing. We need to do something else.
So does that mean that aliens don't have a fallen state?
Oh, yeah, I know. Right.
I thought there was something somewhere about that.
Well, there's debate, and it's a question of who's farther down the track. Or, you know, if you look at the sweep, right, you know, most ancient church falls all the way down to Christian church and starts coming back up, and you know, we're on the new church side. Well, take the people from Jupiter. You know, are they further along and they're the big brothers to us, guiding us, or are they still in the early process and haven't fallen yet? I've had some good discussions with some theological school teachers about that, and let's just say we're not all on the same page. So, yeah. Yeah, it's I wonder this as well. You know, does that mean they're ahead or behind? So who knows? But I think you'll see in future, you know, you have some indication that they run a different path anyway because they're a different part of the grand man structure, right? So it won't be the same thing that we have. So number 155 says, as they desire to know how it is with regard to revelation on our earth, I said that it's affected by writing and by preaching from the word and not by immediate interaction with spirits and angels, and that what is written can be printed and published and be read and comprehended by entire communities, and thus life may be amended. They wondered greatly that such an art, entirely unknown elsewhere, should exist here. But they comprehended that on this earth, where corporeal and earthly things are so much loved, divine things from heaven cannot flow in and be received in any other way, and that it would be dangerous for them to speak with angels. So, yeah.
But it doesn't exist anywhere else, blows my mind.
Yeah, I know. I have a hard time with that. But you see the contrast, the contrast it's building here is if you don't have the word, the implication is, well, the Lord just speaks to people directly. This is, and if you go back to that question of are they ahead or are they behind? Well, Adam and Eve's story, well, guess what? The Lord's speaking directly to them. You know, how does he reveal himself in the most ancient church? Right to you.
But you're assuming that they're gonna follow that path, they may not.
Oh, that is true. That is
They
true.
don't have to be on that path of degeneration.
They don't have to follow our guide and example.
Exactly.
Well,
Whether they're ahead or behind doesn't matter, they're in a great place by then.
yeah, well, you can certainly see that. I mean, the New Jerusalem, you do have the Lord at the center, and he does seem to be accessible. So you could make the case that there too. But yeah, there's plenty of questions to be asked in the next life. I'll tell you what. Plenty of questions.
I've seen to the ancient church what I can see is the Navajo people, and they call divinity the holy people. That's what they call the holy people. And the way he explains, Wally Brown is his name, he's a Navajo elder. He explains things in such a Swedenborgian context. I've got Darren onto it. And Darren and I call each other, hey, Danette. Danette is the Navajo name. And the way, because I'm the only Christian in my family, my siblings, I send them Wally Brown videos. I send yours and Curtis's sometimes, but I think it's a bit over them. But with the Navajos, I think they're a bit scarred, like my family, a little bit scarred from mainstream Christianity. They don't really want to hear that word, Jesus, we can't say that. But sending them through the Navajo, the way he explains things, I think it's an easier way for my family,
Sure.
my siblings, and then I've progressed to your videos. The shorts are amazing. Because if I do the longs and my family just, I can tell they don't read it, they don't even like it. I put the shorts on. Oh, I love the way he explained that. I love the way he explained this. So, but other churches when I've gone to, I've said, oh, I'm really interested in the Navajo traditions and holy water and we'll get away from the
Demons out.
If the way it is Wally Brown, I'll just leave you with that, and his Navajo teachings. I forget the actual name of that, but Darren, him and I discuss it a bit. Anyway, to me that's modern day. That's probably the closest to the ancient church, which fits in with me anyway. Everyone else would be different, but anyway, I thought I'd mention that about the ancient church. I believe it's the Navajos are living it.
Yeah. I'm certainly a believer in that basic parallel. You can say the same thing with some of the Aboriginal cultures in Australia and around the world with the different.
So when they talk about evil spirits and everything, I mean, smudging, they go through. And when I was in New Zealand, we went through a Maori museum, and before you leave or enter and leave, you do cleansing to cleanse any bad spirits from you as you leave and enter. And I'm thinking, all these people that were doing it, why isn't this beautiful? Little do they know, they're actually doing divine work there. They're delving into divine goodness without even knowing it. If you know what I mean? It's amazing to see. This is beautiful, but I've always to bring the word out and go, let me read this to you, that's scatter. So there's ways of getting to people, I think.
Are you sure you're not a minister?
Yeah.
Is he in training?
He's working on it. That's right.
What was the name of the group you're talking about? Nova?
Navajo. Native Americans.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
So whereabouts in America? Whereabouts in America and the Navajo?
They're around the Arizona, New Mexico. There's a lot of tribes, but the Navajos, I think, to what I can see, are the closest to the ancient church. There's probably more, but that's just my personal. The Maoris might be someone. I love the Maori culture as well, but the Navajos, just my tasting. I think it's
Yeah. Oh, it's good to have a little Native American culture in there, along with our aliens.
Oh,
Well, you know,
lots
the
of it there.
the
Looking at
smoking.
other-
Sorry.
We have done that.
Navajos?
Native Americans. I'm sure you were busy doing your sewing.
The Aboriginal smoking ceremony does the same thing.
Smudging,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's, I think
Get
it's
rid of
sage.
the evil spirits before you.
Well, moving back, yes, it is sage and cedar. Says the word might be afterwards be published throughout the whole earth. This is kind of more what Ralph was talking about as far as the printing ability, is because there is contact here between all nations, both by land and water, and now air and digital, to all parts of the globe. Hence, that the word once written might be conveyed from one nation to another and be taught everywhere. So, yes, this is, I mean, I don't know about how it is for you guys, but this is the kind of teaching I feel like I've was given throughout most of my new church education, that, okay, the Lord is born here, have the earth, print it, send it around everywhere. That the word once written might be preserved to all posterity, consequently for thousands and thousands of years, and that has been so preserved is well known. In every other earth, divine truth is manifested by word of mouth through spirits and angels. So doesn't it feel like we're missing out on that? You know, unless a new revelation constantly takes its place, truth is either perverted or perishes. It is otherwise on our earth, where the divine truth, which is the word, remains forever in its integrity. So, as you can see, Arcana is running a similar series to Earth and the Universe. Like these same passages appear in the Arcana pretty much in the same sequence, but there are some differences. And the Earth and the Universe doesn't really talk about it the same way, about truth being manifested through spirits and angels, and that if they didn't keep doing this, unless a new revelation takes place, it's going to be perverted or perished. So there is something about having the written word that keeps it in integrity. And what I find kind of amusing about it is when you start debating, like with atheists or people who are non-believers, one of the first places they go is say, oh, how can you trust the scriptures? You know, it's been edited, it's been this, it's been, you know, manipulated or mistranslated. That they always find ways to discredit it. And the Arcana is like, well, no, it's this is rock solid. And if you just have whisper down the lane, it's going to get perverted or perish. So that somewhere along the line there has to be a new revelation to recorrect. So it seems as if God's being very efficient by giving us the word. He can just, boom, here you go, have it, and you go. That thus might be made manifest that God became man, for this is the first and most essential thing, for the sake of which the word was revealed. For no one can believe in God and love a God whom he cannot comprehend under some appearance. Therefore, they know who acknowledge what is invisible and thus incomprehensible in thought. What? In thought? Is that right? In thought sink into nature, and thus believe in no God. Oh, I see. If they don't have a visible God, they sink into a no God place. Hence, it pleased the Lord to be born on this earth and to make this manifest by the word, that it might not only be known on this globe, but it might be made manifest thereby to spirits and angels, even from other earths, and likewise to Gentiles from our own earth. So the word here is going to travel in the spiritual realm to spirits and angels of other planets. So forget about just the printing press putting on the world, that it's going to be made manifest to spirits and angels from other earths.
Spiritual internet.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? As I was reading through these, that was one that jumped out at me going, oh, I don't remember seeing that before. There are some parts where Swedenborg will be talking to spirits from other planets and goes, oh yeah, Lord was born in our world. Oh, really? Okay. And that they seem impressed by that. But I don't remember seeing this bit about making it manifest to other spirits, to other earths, through spirits and angels from our earth. So a little something extra for you. In every other earth, divine truth is manifested by word of mouth. We kind of got that already through spirits and angels. And as was said above in speaking of the inhabitants of the earth in the solar system. But this manifestation is confined within families. The human race in most earths live distinct according to families. Therefore, the divine truth thus revealed through spirits and angels is not conveyed far beyond the limits of families. Yeah. So there's to be a Helden revelation, Horner revelation. I'll be, you know, your family have your revelation. I don't know. I kind of like that. But
To me, that kind of highlights the importance of community. Our world has got away from community and living in families and whatever, and older people's going to aged care homes. There's a lot of dysfunction there within families, but now I think a lot of people realise that, and they are trying to get the community spirit back.
like intergenerational housing you're talking about?
What?
Like intergenerational housing, like where, you know.
Like what you have?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just saying that there is a lot more of movement now in what I understand in the world for people to get back to community and not be so spread out all over the place and I guess becoming more self-sufficient in a way that your communities function because you're all working together, whereas it's all dysfunctional. Anyway.
And we were having a conversation with some of the younger members of the household about they have a desire to have friends and a life, and yet they also spend much of their time in their room. I was like, now these are opposing things here. If you would like to have friends, you must have to go out and get them. You must have community. Can't have both. Yes. And I do wonder what in a context like this, you know, how, you know, it says families. How big does that circle get? You know, that's what I wonder. This is, as you can see, is from the diary. There was a talk concerning the Lord, why he was born in this earth and not in some other. And it was seen that the reason was because in this earth, doctrine communicated from heaven could be propagated throughout the whole world and remain for thousands of years. For in this earth, from ancient times, such things had been committed to writings. For elsewhere, the inhabitants do not know how to commit to writing things which they know, nor how to communicate with all. Besides, also, when the heavenly doctrine concerning the Lord is known in one earth, the rest are thus able to know it when they become spirits and angels. So that's, you know, we could have just had the entire class, boom, there it is. That's basically the money passage, says it all right there. And also it goes on, says it is to be known that the word on our earth given through the heaven from the Lord is the union of heaven and the world. For this end, there's a correspondence of all things contained in the letter of the word with the divine things of heaven. And the word in its supreme and inmost sense treats of the Lord, of his kingdom in the heavens and the earths, and of love and faith from him and in him, and consequently of life from him and in him. Such things are presented to angels in heaven from whatever earth they are, when the word of our earth is read and preached. So again, you can see the italicized from whatever earth they are is only in the Arcana version, not in the Earths in the Universe version. Not sure why that is. Little trivia for you, but
Which was written first?
Arcana.
Okay.
Yeah. So Arcana was all done first, and Earths in the Universe came out, I think, 10 years later as a compilation of passages from the Arcana. Yeah. So again, it's the word is bigger than just our planet. You know, he's talking about it in terms of angels and spirits from other worlds, wherever they are. Hear these stories too. Thus also the angels of heaven are able not only to be perfected from the word, but also perceive blessedness and happiness of life. For the word read in this earth passes by correspondences into heaven, as was shown. Thus also the truths of faith can be communicated to the angels of other earths. This is the reason that the Lord willed to be born here and to become, while he was in the world, the divine truth, that is, the word, and afterwards the divine good, that is, Jehovah.
Can you summarize, please, how it is that our written version is affecting spirits from other planets? We read it, it's going to the other, the world of spirits, and then from there it's going to.
Yeah, he never really kind of parses that out. So no. But it does seem that there's, I'll say hold on to that, because there is one passage where it talks a little bit about it gives a spirit from Jupiter who is somehow reading our words. So it's not super clear to me.
I've got an out there question. Would it be possible to conjure your love between
A Martian and a Jupiter girl?
Elmore or spirit? Do you think that's possible? I don't know. Just
I mean, look, I'm of the mindset that I generally don't like saying never or impossible. I do believe in words like doesn't seem likely or rare, but yeah, I don't know.
because we think of interracial marriages many times in the past at how it was. I think the first interracial marriage was you saw on TV, it was in the 60s. I'm thinking, who knows, in the next life, that could be a breakthrough there where, I don't know, the first intergalactic.
I mean, humans, all humans.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
inside,
I'm a mixed race myself.
Mhm.
You know, my father's a Greek human and mum's a Scottish, and I can't see how we could do that in the next world. Could we? Because it would be a different species, wouldn't it?
These areas get start to get beyond my comprehension.
Yeah, it's
The stars of the universe.
Yeah, it's all good.
You know, we got stars out there.
Yeah,
Forever.
you also said that the human race on Earth is like the skin of the grand man, and so they're, you would think that they wouldn't interact with the liver of the grand man or the, so.
Right. Yes. That's kind of where I go to. If they're a heart species,
Right.
you don't want to be.
Are they going to consort with other heart species? Right?
Yeah, not going to consort with these silly skin people. You chase shiny objects.
Actually happened, the Nephilim,
Yeah.
when they got chucked out or something and they bred with the women on the planet.
Hmm.
Is that something similar? Or?
I don't think in actuality it is.
Yeah.
Because that's one of those tales from the early part of Genesis where it's
Yeah.
not to be taken quite so literally.
There you go. Thank you.
That's what.
I'm trying to explain that to people on the net as well, like that.
Yeah, well, that's. I don't want to get too far off track, but I mean, it's an interesting tale because Swedenborg tells us that all those early stories of Genesis aren't to be taken literally,
Yeah, exactly.
and yet the more I study them, the more I find there's more literal truth to them than perhaps we in the new church give it credit for. So, yeah, it's tricky. So I don't know, but there are definitely some people who think that yes, there are gods that came down and intermarried, but yeah, how did we get on that? Oh, yeah, because you're intergalactic dating service. Yeah, right. I alluded to this earlier. Spirits and angels from other planets rejoice to hear that the Lord was born. Be it known that the Lord acknowledges and receives all from whatever earth they may be, who acknowledge and worship God under a human form, and God under a human form is the Lord. And because the Lord appears to the inhabitants of the earth in angelic form, which is the human form, therefore, when spirits and angels from these earths hear that the spirits and angels of our earth, that God is man in actuality, they receive this word, acknowledge it, and rejoice that it is so. So other spirits, other planets are like, yay, Lord was born somewhere. So good. This is what Murray was talking about a little bit about how we're skin people, basically. To the reasons already introduced, may be added that the inhabitants, spirits, and angels of our earth bear relation in the grand man to the external and bodily sense. And the external and bodily sense is the ultimate into which interior things of life come to a close and in which they rest as in their common receptacle. The case is similar with the truth in the divine truth, the truth divine in the letter, which is called the word, and which for this reason also has been given on this earth and not on another. And because the Lord is the word in its first and last, therefore, in order that all things might come forth according to order, he also willed to be born on this earth and to become the word. So you can see there's some repetitiveness in these passages, and yet this thing that sticks out in this one is about, yes, spirits and angels of our earth bear relation to the grand man, to the external and bodily sense.
Depressing. I have to remind myself that, it's all in Providenceville. It's like skin, that's it. You need this big organ.
It is, and it isn't
Part of it.
Yeah, without your skin, you probably wouldn't live.
It's the largest organ in the body.
Yeah.
So, well, and it makes you feel a little better about the people chasing sensory things, physical pleasure, because it's like, well, if that's what we correspond to, it kind of makes some sense that we would chase
Oh, it does.
some of that stuff.
That's depressing.
But now I've got Chris's comment rattling around in my brain now, and I'm thinking that Swedenborg writes about the most ancient church and how like their heaven is closed off to the rest of us because we're just too different from the way they ran life. And so I'm thinking, well, if we're these skin people, external sense people, yeah, I don't know. If Lord's gonna close off the most ancient church heaven to us, I wonder if he's gonna allow interplanetary marriages. And it's not because of racist type stuff, but just because those aren't gonna work.
So the most ancient church or the celestial angels from this earth would still be skin people, would they?
Yeah. And so, and don't confuse with what I said to say that the celestial heaven is closed to us. You can still go to that highest heaven, but the highest heaven that you will be accessing won't be the same as what the Adam and Eve people want to. So there's still hope. Highest heaven for you.
Isn't that because their will and understanding is conjoined? The separation.
Yeah, he talks about them as being a different genus or species, and so that is that.
So you wouldn't really be able to communicate with them in the same way,
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
it's possible that we would corrupt them.
Yes. Well, there's a song, I won't say who the band is, he sings about, there's a song called Planet Caravan. I always wondered what it was about. And what it was about aliens circling the earth. They want to greet us, but we're not mature enough. So it's actually a sad song because they can see that we're not ready enough. They've matured.
Sure.
And they don't want to be corrupted as such, I think. Anyway, and when you said that it was only a few weeks ago, what is this song about? And I'm thinking that's probably true because they're seeing us bickering, fighting, money, and we've gone through all this. We're not ready for this. These people aren't. It's like being around a bunch of hyperactive kids that just want to keep still. For them, it's just whoa, too much. And that's what this song is about. It gets you thinking and thinking, we are still very immature, but very slowly we are maturing.
You got to watch some Twilight Zone.
Oh, that's what
So here's one, was the Lord's coming chiefly for the people of this earth? It says the most direful persuasions of falsity existed with those who believed before the flood, especially with those who are called the Nephilim. Such were the wicked tribes against whom the Lord combated in his earliest childhood and whom he conquered. And unless the Lord had conquered them by his coming to the world, not a man would have been left at this day upon the earth, for every man is governed by the Lord through spirits. So I do think it's fair to say, yes, he's coming to combat tribes such as this for people of this earth. But we do have some examples of spirits from other planets affected and taught by the word here. This is, I think, what Jen was a little bit asking earlier. There were with me some spirits of the earth Jupiter while I was reading the 17th chapter in John concerning the Lord's love and concerning his glorification. And when they heard the things that are there, holiness filled them, and they confessed that all things therein were divine. So, that it doesn't give the mechanics that you were asking for, but it does say that, he had spirits with Jupiter with him. Okay, well, that's Swedenborg. It's not necessarily a normal occurrence. Patricia might have some Martians with her, but that's an exception. So who knows? Maybe when Patricia reads the word that the Martians are affected. This one it says the second Earth in the starry heaven. So a lot of people take this to be Venus. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, blah, blah, blah. They were asked about the God whom they worshipped, and they answered that they worshiped God visible and invisible, God visible under the human form, and God invisible not under any form. And it was found from their speech and also from their ideas of their thought as communicated to me. The visible God is our Lord himself, and they also called him Lord.
I thought the Earth's in the starry heavens were Earths beyond our solar system.
Well, right. There's three different interpretations. There's that one. There's some saying it's Venus, the second planet, and there are others saying, oh, well, no, Swedenborg talks about Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and therefore Uranus, Neptune, Pluto were not known, and therefore second would be Uranus, Neptune. So pick your theory. I don't know.
Doesn't really matter.
No, I think if I were to actually pick one, I'd probably go with the Neptune theory. But I do like that one as well. It's somewhere out there in the universe. It goes on. To this it was given to reply that on our earth God is worshipped as invisible and as visible, and that God invisible is called the Father, and the visible the Lord, but that the two are one, as he himself taught, saying that no man has ever seen the form of the Father, but that the Father and he are one, and that he who sees him sees the Father. So it's basically going to tell these people from another planet that yes, there is visible and invisible God, and they are the same. So the question, though, is, are these examples showing that we affect spirits from other planets when we read the word? I don't know.
Well, we know that we affect spirits in the spiritual world, so.
Yep.
Maybe what I was sort of alluding to before is maybe they are also, the spirits in the other world are also in association with spirits from other planets or something.
Yeah, I think that's about as best as you can do. And if you take in the idea that, okay, if we are skin people, how does the skin affect other organs? If you And what can you do to your skin that affects your heart? I'm not sure that I see a strong connection there. I do have a little tangent for you, because we talked about how, other Earths, they get the revelation direct from the source, right? So this isn't really about why the Lord was born here, but the question is the written revelation better or worse? And it's a little bit surprising. This is going to be a few passages I want to throw out here at the end. It says, how much immediate revelation, which is effected through the word, surpasses immediate revelation, which is effected through the spirits. The passage says, it is believed that man might be more enlightened and become wiser if he should have immediate revelation through the speech with spirits and with angels. But the reverse is the case. Enlightenment by means of the word is affected by an interior way, while enlightenment by immediate revelation is affected by an exterior way. Now, I found that puzzling, because that's not how I would have thought about it. But think about this. It says the interior way is through the will and into the understanding. The exterior way is through the hearing and into the understanding. Man is enlightened through the word by the Lord so far as his will is in good. But man may be instructed, and as it were enlightened through the hearing, though the will is in evil. And what enters into the understanding with a man whose will is in evil is not within, but outside of him. Moreover, no leave is given to any spirit or even any angel to instruct any man on this earth in divine truths. But the Lord himself teaches everyone through the word, and teaches him so far as the man receives good from the Lord in the will, and the man receives good so far as he shuns evils as sins. Again, every man is in a society of spirits as to his affections and thoughts, thence in which he is as one with them. Therefore, spirits speaking with man speak from his affections and according to them. Man cannot speak with other spirits unless the societies in which he is are first removed, which cannot be done except by the reformation of the will. So he's saying, okay, you might wish to have spirits and angels talk to you. Those spirits and angels that talk to you may not have all the good information because, well, they're a reflection of you. So if you get a revelation from the Lord through the word, you're going straight to the source. And what I appreciate is this idea that if an angel comes to you, it's an external revelation. I never thought about that before, but he's like, well, look, it's just going in through your ears or through your eyes. It's external versus when you read the word, it's this connection to heaven, and it can really change you from the inside out. So, I really liked that. One more. It says, because every man is in society of spirits who are of the same religion with himself, therefore spirits speaking with him confirm all things which is made part of his religion. Thus enthusiastic spirits confirm all things of enthusiasm with the man, Quaker spirits with things of Quakerism, Moravian spirits with the Moravians, and so on. Hence come confirmations of falsity which can never be uprooted. From this is a display that immediate revelation, which is effected through the word, is better than immediate revelation. Did I read that wrong? That immediate revelation, with respect to the word, is better than immediate revelation, which takes place through the spirits. As for myself, I have not been allowed to take anything from the mouth of any spirit, nor from the mouth of any angel, but from the mouth of the Lord alone. So, there you go.
It's a bit like miracles in a way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, if you, like me, were feeling a bit ripped off that we don't have angels speaking to us, this is to say you're getting the better deal. You're getting the full strength divine truth delivered straight from God to you.
But we didn't, like when I think of.
Yeah, if you read it. That's right. There is that caveat.
When I think of immediate revelation, I don't think of hearing it through angels, I think of hearing it from the Lord. Like you talk about reading the word and having that direct connection is better than getting revelation through angels or spirits, but they're connected to us and gonna tell us what we want to hear, whatever. Well, that's not what my question was, as it were. Like, well, wouldn't
You want God himself to show up and tell you how to live life? Is that what
well,
you're saying?
like the ancient church had, or most ancient church, or something like that. I was thinking that's what it was comparing, reading the word to.
Right.
Maybe they had.
And
but
so-
I guess.
But do you realize why that doesn't happen? I mean, it's really a ridiculously simple answer, I think, is that the Lord knows that everybody needs something to do. They need to feel useful. So the Lord sends out people as basically missionaries and ministers so that they can teach the next people on down the line. That's part of our sense of self and usefulness, that the Lord doesn't just reveal himself directly to everybody. That's why he uses spirits and angels to do that work. So if he did all the revealing, well, then you just put everybody out of work. Yeah, huh? Kind of weird, but that's anyway. Hey, that's perfect. It's 12 o'clock. All right. Well, that's all I have. Is any whoops, wrong button.
Yeah.
Any questions? I'll stop the slides here.
Well, we
Thoughts?
do. I said we do possess the ability to destroy the world. We'll be, with Vladimir Putin sends atomic bombs into New York City, well, and that sort of thing. Just thinking, I need to explain a lot of these things. A whole set of divine providence needs to be.
Yeah.
We're getting to the stage where the earth is a small place.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the earth is shrinking for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you believe that the word is needed for the sake of more than just our planet, you could take solace in the fact that you would think that the Lord would not allow it to be destroyed, the planet that is. Though there is that one passage somewhere in there that says that, if this world were to go extinct, the angels and spirits that are associated with all of us would get transferred into some other world. So, and at some point, nuclear war aside, just in the natural scheme of things, this world will go extinct eventually. So there has to be some sort of a backup plan.
And, technology already can take people and written material to outer space. So by then, they'll be able to colonize another.
Wow, that's right.
With the written word.
We'll have sent our copy of the word on a digital spacecraft.
Right.
I like it.
The whole.
In
First
some
tweet.
time. In a stick.
Yeah.
If you read about Milankovitch cycles and they say that the Earth has been 15 degrees hotter 100,000 years ago, and it will come back again to be 15 degrees hotter. And if that's the case, will we be able to, and will human be able to live on the Earth if the average temperature is 15 degrees warm?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Not
Right.
in our lifetime, but
Or maybe this afternoon.
They didn't have air conditioning back then.
No.
I'm from Queensland.
No, it is interesting that there are. Yeah, I haven't heard of that phrase before, but I've definitely heard of different cycles, and then you have solar flares and solar things, and there's so much more to it than just kind of a pollution based climate change model. So yeah, I don't know what the future of this world has in store,
What?
but I do. But on the concern about nuclear war and stuff, I mean, there have been plenty of opportunities in the last 40 years where that could have happened, and Providence has always had the right person in the right place to prevent it. And there are plenty of stories that have come out in the last 20 years about that kind of stuff. So I just kind of hope that the Lord still has that in place.
Yeah, like I think I read one or heard one where it got right down to the Russian guy who would push the button.
Yeah.
It got that far.
Yep.
You've heard that story too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
And in his interview, they asked, well, you know, why didn't you? Because by protocol, he was supposed to push the button.
yeah,
And he's like, well, because their machinery, their equipment said, well, there was like what, 4 nukes from the US coming over. And he's like, you know what? I thought if the US was actually going to try to do a preemptive strike, they wouldn't have just sent 3 or 4. They would have sent like, a gazillion. He's like, and it turned out he was right. Well, there we go. How about that for a Christmas topic? Aliens with a little bit of nuclear war all rolled into one. Intergalactic marriage and Christmas. Wow, how about that? Yeah, only in the new church, folks. Only in the
I said, you're welcome to come in. I wouldn't. I'd be out of my element there, and she would.
You never know what you might pick up,
Oh, she.
right?
Oh, yeah. I give them little snippets. I like that. That sounds good. So Darren says, give them a taste of salt. Don't marinate them.
Right.
It makes them thirstier then.
Yeah.
Want more.
Leave them wanting more. All right, Margaret, we're gonna head out.